Can you just introduce
Uh,
yourself?
well, full name is Wendy. You know, Wendy breathes the social media.
Oh, okay.
Um, yeah, pretty like quick introduction. So my name is Wendy, born and raised, born and raised in the Bahamas. I've been in Canada for about 10 years. I had to think just now.
Wow.
I'm from the Bahamas, but my heritage is from Haiti.
Oh,
So both of my parents are from Haiti, but I was born and raised in the Bahamas. I identify with both cultures, but just a very laid back guy. And how we met in the gym. I love to
yeah,
work out.
yeah,
Yeah, I got a 4 year old that keeps me busy. That's why I try to stay fit so I could run with him as long as I can.
yeah. Great. Awesome. That's I have a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old right now, so I know what it's like.
Oh, okay, that makes
Yeah,
sense. That's why our schedule is so
yeah.
so tight. Makes sense.
So it's great having you.
Thank
Do you
you.
want to share a bit about your professional life? You just shared the fact that you're a family man.
Funny
What
enough,
what do
like
you do?
a
Um,
lot of people like they're all surprised like how I do a lot of cooking and stuff. So I actually work in finance.
oh,
So
great.
I work in the Greater Mountain area for a company called Owen Fashion.
Oh,
So essentially, I do private wealth management. So
oh,
it's
great.
completely not related. Like even though people all see me like with food and workout, but during the day
No,
I'm at the desk.
I can totally
Yeah.
relate as well. So let's just delve into it. I'll just go ahead and ask the first question. So how's it been staying fit? It's completely different. What has inspired your lifestyle so far?
Um, I mean, you have our challenges. I feel like once you have kids nowadays and you get on schedule, I think my main inspiration is my son. So like I lost my father like at I lost my father. I would have been 24 and he's 55. So and great guy, but didn't always take care of himself.
Mm,
So I think that experience losing him so early, and now being a father myself, it kind of like motivated me. Okay, well, like just to try to take care of myself, eat, sleep. So the biggest reason has been my son. Like literally, just like my son, just to stay as healthy as possible, so I can provide for the family and just have fun
mm.
with him. So that's my biggest inspiration for sure. That keeps me consistent.
Oh, great. Thanks for letting us know that. So same question, but in a different pattern. What has the vegetarian lifestyle been like, and has it influenced your fitness approach?
Oh, that's an actual good question. So I've been actually doing it for a year now, but
Oh,
you being from the continent of Africa, me being Caribbean, like
yeah,
our diet is generally very plant based to begin with. So
true.
I slowly I was telling myself, okay, well, like let me try to dive into it. So I've been into it for a year. I think the biggest change for me has been weight management. I find like a lot of time like between like we'll take the weekend off. I feel like my weight would fluctuate
Mm,
more. But I find since I've been eating basically predominantly a vegetarian style, like I'm able to like my weight hasn't drastically spike. So I would attribute it to that, but also I've gotten more strict on tracking like my diet altogether. But the
okay.
biggest change would be weight management and also energy, like
Mm,
and bloated. I can't remember the last time I've been bloated.
oh,
That's something I used to have, but eating more plant based, you're getting a lot of fiber. So those would be
oh,
the two things. I was getting bloated quite a bit up until I made the change.
okay, okay. I I can totally relate to that because I also at some point I was really out being bad and I'll be very uncomfortable. The
Hmm.
whole bloatedness thing was just getting it was happening repeatedly. So I
Yeah.
also knew I needed to change my lifestyle. So let's go and let's have okay. So what keeps you motivated to maintain your fitness and how do you keep going? Because I know it's cooking is a hobby for me, so it's not something I really enjoy doing every time. But
Oh,
for
okay.
you, I don't know how you've been able to. You literally do it like most times. So how are you able to keep at it?
Funny enough, and like, I'm sure a lot of people relate it. Mental health.
Mm,
mental health is one of the biggest ones for me. So a little bit cooking. Growing up, my mom did catering, so she did
okay.
catering and she was a vendor. So like
Mm,
it was not something I asked to do. You know, like in growing up, like okay, my mom needed me to get on the pan doing this. So and it became natural to me. So when I moved to Canada, I was on my own. So
mm,
I was already very proficient at cooking. But I find it's something like if I'm stressed, I can go in the kitchen, I can make something healthy, and like it allows me just to like I don't know, just to relax for a bit. But it's also again like it's a good way for me to like be aware of what I'm putting
what you put
in my body.
mm.
So I'd say that would be one of the biggest ones.
Oh, okay, great. Thank you. Thank you for letting us know that. Still struggling with the whole, because like I said, I cook, but
Yeah,
I enjoy cooking, but it's a hobby for me. So sometimes your meal plans or when you're planning for cook for maybe guests and when you want to cook,
yeah.
what do you think you want to put in it at a particular time? At what just influences that thought?
Hmm. That's that, yeah, that's a good one. I'm excited 'cause I love to eat. Like I love
Okay,
food. So like I like to focus on protein, like
okay,
protein and fiber. Being from the Caribbean, we eat all the rice and beans.
yeah,
So prior to switching the vegetarian diet, so I might do some lamb, some rice and peas or beans, some mac and cheese. So like right now, so like right, I'm actually cooking for for a few people right now. So I'm just doing rice. So basically, it's brown rice
okay,
and some red kidney beans. So I always try to focus on the protein and the fiber. So even when I'm like, for me, like I try to switch things up a bit every week. So like I kind of like
mm,
I meal prep my own food, but I don't have like a strict menu. But I have like the key essential. I'm like, okay, where am I getting my fiber? Where I'm getting my protein, my fats. So that's why I kind of like picture it. So again, I love beans, the lentils. So I can switch
oh,
up between a variety of different beans
okay,
because I don't eat meat. So beans and lentils would be one of my primary sauces. So,
okay,
and then my veggies, I could go anywhere from spinach, broccoli, uh, thinking about like some cabbage. So there's a lot of options. Like I find a lot
yeah,
of people are always like like they always think, okay, like oh, how do you survive? Like how do you put on muscle on a vegetarian diet? I always tell people like if you really look, like you can get and it's very affordable. So like if you really look around, you can still get like your all your nutrients. So I always
okay,
try to structure about protein. I found like when I eat more carbs, less protein, I'm more hungry.
okay,
So like when I'm doing the
mm,
rice and beans, I might try to even it out more now because there's no meat. I'll even it more up with the beans, and then broccoli will fill you up. Like I don't know much people who can eat a lot of broccoli. So those kind of proteins is what I focus on when I'm putting together a meal for sure.
oh, okay, great. Thanks for sharing all the details around the variety. Another question would be, um, how do you mix and match these meals? I know you've just
Yeah,
did you did you have to get some education? I know you had said
yeah,
your mom was a caterer, right? Yeah, so did you just observe? Did you learn by just observing her, or
yeah.
did you take out or make out time to understand the various? I okay, so our previous guest had shared the fact that he has an app that is able to track his weight usually. So are you able to with food? Is it possible to do a similar thing?
Um, so let me see to give you a good answer. Because I've been at it for years. So for a long time, I used to weigh my food. But like, and the thing
Oh,
about with the fitness journey, and once you get in the routine, I find
okay,
like tracking early, you kind of realize what your body is accustomed
okay,
to. So I know for sure, like I would go 2 cups. If I go 2 cups of broccoli, I might go half a cup to a cup of rice. So
okay,
like I weigh myself weekly. So every
okay.
Saturday
Wow.
morning, I'm like, okay, this is where I'm at. Okay, but then I track my food. So I'm like, okay, well, this is what I ate this week. Where did I go off track?
Okay.
And the scale as well. You don't have to always watch the scale. You watch the eye test because the scale might go up, but you got to put on more muscle.
Yeah.
All right. So that's
Yeah.
the trick. I find about it just being. this tracking for sure gives you that opportunity to know, okay, how your body's reacting to certain things.
Okay. Okay, great. So this is a more personal question. So coming from Africa, we
Yeah.
do a lot of carbs diets, and we eat a lot of rice, some beans in
Oh,
between.
I know all about it. Same. Oh yeah, I'm up for that.
So I've been struggling with my energy levels
Yeah.
in recent times. I still sometimes get exhausted. How are you able to maintain a good level of energy during the day and say maybe at night as well? I know
Yeah.
it also it's this is pretty much meal based. So how do you do it, and how has it worked for you
Yeah.
so far?
Like since switching, and I'm not pushing the vegetarian diet
That's fine.
on people, but since I've seen a difference. But of course, sleep plays the biggest factor. I find like that's one of the hardest
Okay.
things for people. One thing I had realized, one thing I started doing in August. So I started trying like I'll eat in the mornings, but like when the sun comes up, and I don't eat when the sun is down. So eating late.
Oh, okay.
So and we met at the gym. So normally
Yeah,
I work out around that time. And what I found, like, so I would come back was like I feel more heavy, and like I'm just sluggish, and you can
yeah,
easily get hurt. I found like not eating after 7 o'clock. Usually I'll just Monday to Friday. Saturday I'm a bit more lax
relaxed.
because like
Yeah,
we have date nights or stuff. But like throughout the
yeah.
week, I found like not eating late, I have a lot of energy in the mornings, and I
Okay.
feel lighter because it gives your body time to digest
The
your
food.
last meal. So I found like that has given me a lot of energy. But that's not counting in sleep and proper nutrition. But I find just overall good digestion for sure.
Okay. Okay, great. Thanks for letting us know that. Now, how do you ensure a balanced diet in all of this setup? Because sometimes just thinking about what to cook is a headache on its own. So you're also pressed for time.
Yeah,
You've got a kid, you've got work to do. So at the back of your head or the back of your mind, you want to really whip up that meal very quickly. So does
yeah.
that play a more important role than what you have in the meal itself? Is time just the major part you consider when you're trying to prep up your meal and make that meal as well?
Time is big. Well, because I find like we're close and cultural enough where like a lot of good
Yeah,
stuff takes time.
yeah, true.
I try to plan it, but I find like the biggest thing I've done is just being open minded. So I realize, you know what, like a lot of stuff I like is based on my culture. So I'm more open. I became more open minded moving to Canada, having friends from different parts of the
Excellent.
world, and I've actually taken some stuff from their culture. So
Oh,
I would do
great.
some Lebanese rice. I do some Middle Eastern, right? Like I have a close friend of mine who's from Nigeria.
Oh,
So like
great.
I got the jollof rice and a few other
Yeah,
things. So
great.
I found like being more open minded
Great.
has actually been a big game changer because it opens. I have more access to different good food as well,
Awesome.
like good healthy foods. Like I could combine stuff. So like, and I find it's become natural now. I could be sitting at work. I'm working in finance. I'm thinking
Yeah,
about food. I'm like, okay, I wonder if I can do some falafel. You know what I mean? With some
yeah,
rice and beans, I can do some falafel, and with some jollof, right? So that's Nigerian, like a Middle Eastern.
yeah,
So I do a lot of that, and I think being from the Bahamas of Haitian descent, so I was
yeah,
born in the Bahamas, but I grew up in a different culture with my parents.
yeah.
So I've always had access to Haitian cuisine, Bahamian cuisine, and then the Jamaican influence being in the Caribbean. So I've benefited having being exposed to those has expanded like my food options. So I get and then having like just talking to people. That's overall like I would do a lot of like get-togethers like I'm gonna do later. So we just meeting up with new friends from all over the place, and okay, like I see you got this. How did you make that? All right, now I can add that to my list. So
Correct.
like the biggest part I found like this opening is being open-minded. Trying new foods for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Great. Thank you. So, and all of this, um, what challenges would you say you faced, and maintaining your fitness journey and how you've balanced it with your food, with your eating.
Yeah. Good. I think I might be able to give you two. So the number one challenge, and when you work,
Yeah,
the office stuff, right? People
yeah.
bring donuts. You got the Tim Hortons going on. That was a major challenge um, early on until I had to like, okay, I'm gonna be more disciplined. So what I try to do, and that comes to the cooking, I try to prepare as best as I can. So like I'll have my lunch, but I also
Mm,
bring snacks.
okay.
So like I have my lunch. I might have some peanuts, some almonds with me as my snack. I have an apple or yogurt. So if people are snacking at the office on some sugary donuts, I'm like, oh, no, I'm prepared. I have my own snack. I can still engage. I can engage
Yeah.
in conversation, but I'm okay. I can prepare for my snack. So meal prepping like has been the biggest key. Trying to be as prepared as you, because
Okay.
we know our habits. Like when you're tired, when you like, so being prepared for any any occasion where you can detract from your diet
Yeah.
has been a key. And then the second I'd say challenge is injury, because like as you go, you get injured, and how do you push through, right? Like do you like I had a shoulder injury
Oh, okay.
for about like a month and a half back in January. So I was doing physio. I'm okay, like, what could I do? Okay, but like I could stay home and just kind of like complain about it, but I go to the gym, hit the treadmill. I mean, there's still stuff I can do to stay active while I'm maintaining the injury. So the two things would be, like I at the workplace or events where when people have alcohol or unhealthy foods, and then when you're injured, what do you do now? Do you find ways to train around it, or do you just stay at home?
Mm, okay. So another question. I'm sure you find this really interesting. How are there any nutritious or nutrition myths around the plant-based diet? Is there
Yeah,
any superstitious belief or some mystic thinking around it? And how did you surmount that thought or that myth or yeah,
yeah. Well, I think what I've heard of, because when I look back, I was like, okay, how can I be more healthy, right? Because I'm saying, okay, well, people are getting sick, and like I've always been exposed to it. So like I've always eaten a lot of rice and beans, a lot of different stuff. So all I did was like I opted, right? So I did some research. Okay, like which plant based stuff has more protein,
okay.
which I consume more. So I think the biggest thing I find, or people always say automatically, is like, okay, well, like, how can you build muscle?
Mm,
Like how can, but like, well, if you look at elephants and rhinos, they eat predominantly plants, right? So
plant-based food,
they're
yeah.
they're very big. So I find that you do need more. Unfortunately, like you do need more of it, considering to like eating steak. But you can still get your proteins. But I find the best to go around is do a combination.
Okay.
So I think a lot of people, like if they switch, they're eating less. So of course you're not putting on like muscle or whatever you want to do. So I found like finding a way to like mix it up. So again, like you do your brown rice that has some protein. You have your falafel. That's it could be chickpeas paste based, right? You
Yeah.
got your broccoli. So you can um you can you can get the protein in, but without being as calorie dense.
Okay.
But you have to balance it out, right? It's not whereas like you can eat one piece of chicken breast and it's this high, whereas like okay, you might have to eat a variety of different things. So eating more whole foods, I feel like that it's helped in terms of like getting protein and fiber, which is one of the biggest myths people are say, oh, okay, how are you gonna put on muscle if you're
Yeah.
not eating
You're not
basically
eating.
eating animals, kind of stuff like that.
Okay, great. I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit. This whole, so for me, initially, I didn't think um, I needed to. So, do you take supplements for
Yeah,
for your lifestyle?
actually,
Yeah.
I take protein powder.
Okay.
So, and sometimes I have like regular whey protein because I'm not vegan, I'm vegetarian, but I still have
Oh,
some milk product.
yeah. Okay.
But I predominantly I use the plant-based Vega.
Plant-based.
Vega is a
Okay.
brand I use a lot, and something that's actually that's been popular these days is creatine. I actually just got me some creatine. I'm
Okay.
going to be adding as well. It's like a lot of research has been done around it. So I do take some supplements. I find out
Oh, okay.
it's with the way we're so busy, it's hard to get all the nutrients you need
From plant.
in your meals. Like
Yeah.
so, yeah, I'm a big fan of getting your supplements.
Oh, okay, great. So, how would you say people can track um, progress without becoming obsessed by numbers? Like,
Yeah,
I know you track on a weekly basis, but
yeah,
um, I, for one, just recently started tracking, but prior to now, I would rather just keep going. But
yeah,
like a friend said to me, you can't just keep going. It's if you need to plan a workout routine, then try to track as well. So I was
yeah.
leaving the tracking part off the table. So how would you say you've been tracking this numbers or the numbers? Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the part I heard. I can't remember who I heard it from, but it was like if you don't track it, you can change it. Sorry, but fine. You can get obsessed with the numbers. I'm guilty of it. Like I used to get obsessed with the numbers until like I slowly change it up. So I found like it's best to it's still good to track it. Like I do it once a week. I'm not overly obsessed about it. And then if I see some a few things up and I can say, okay, what did I eat? Right. And that's a good thing about when you kind of like track your food. So and you're disciplined because you know what you ate, right? So okay,
Hmm.
well, like if this is how my body reacted to this week, I'll just switch it up and see how my body react next week. So I found like tracking, like for instance, tracking your weight and your food have been a good combination. But one thing I would say, like, I find the clothes test and the eye test. Don't I
Okay.
find like because your clothes tell you right away. So my my
Yeah.
go to is the clothes and then the eye. So some people might just take a picture once a week. I
Yeah.
found like you get more data from the picture and clothes than the actual
Mm,
scale, right?
mm,
Because you might check the scale, but you might have had a salty food earlier or
yeah.
yesterday where like
Yeah.
your body retained more water, but then you drop the water the next, right? But I
Mm.
found like the the eye test and the clothes test is
It's
it tells
definitely.
you more. It tells you more than the actual scale because you could have put on 5 pounds of muscle. Right? I'm just
Mm,
exaggerating, but if you keep just obsessing over what do you call it over over the scale, then you might be like you might be cutting yourself short because you might actually be making progress. So I found like this still tracking your food, taking your picture, and the cardio test too. Like I walk a lot. I do a lot
oh,
of
okay.
walking. So cause if I think about it, besides in the gym, I do 5 days a week. I do a lot of walking. I take the stairs.
Okay.
And when I've missed the gym, so I'm traveling, because I work on the third floor of my building, I take the stairs up.
Okay.
I can feel, okay, I haven't done any cardio going up 3 flights of stairs. Ooh, okay. Because you lose your cardio. It's funny, you lose your cardio like like you could put
It's like
on like
this.
a year of work.
Yeah.
You miss a week and your cardio just vanish.
Okay. Great. So quick question: how can beginners set a decent meal plan
Yeah.
for to stay healthy?
Oh, that's
Right.
a tricky one.
I know that that's that's one part. I need to start eating really clean. I
Yeah.
do stay at it, but sometimes I just let drop the ball. So how would you say peeps can our audience? How would you advise
Yeah.
they set their objectives clearly?
Yeah. So I know everyone is different. So this is something I did.
And how can beginners set a realistic meal plan once they decide to stay healthy, start working out?
Oh yeah, yeah. That's a quick. That's a tricky question. I find, and I like to talk to people because people always talk to me,
Yeah.
and I'm always like, because some people say, oh, I don't know how you do it. I can't do it. I'm like, oh, I'm eating what I love. I love me some plantains. I know like I love some fried plantains. I do a lot of boiled plantains. I'm not sure if boiled plantains is big in
It,
Nigeria.
it is very big. We've got people who love plantain.
I grew up
Yeah.
having plantain trees nearby, but I realized not everyone not everyone has that. Because a lot of times I'm like, oh, I can't understand because okay, well, I can do it because I'm used to having it, right? That's
Yeah.
and it's generally pretty good for you. And so what I try to tell people, like I find like a good way to start, because if you try to do everything at once, you're gonna get discouraged. I found like
Mm.
some people it takes steps. I always say, okay, well, what are ways you can make stuff you eat right now healthier? Right? So you can still keep your flavors and all that stuff. So although like I'm vegetarian, but I still my food like I still put a lot of spices and
Okay.
seasoning. You know, so I don't cut off the flavor. So I try to get because you're not gonna stick to something you don't like. So if you're just doing
Mm.
someone put you on a 4 week plan, you find the food bland and then you do it for 4 weeks. You know what I mean? It's almost like you're torturing yourself, right?
Yeah.
So I find like what is the quickest way you could turn it to a lifestyle? So I know and looking back at it, like, oh, it was a trend because before I went on full vegetarian, I was like, okay, how can I get more greens? So I made it. I made it a challenge to myself. For every meal, I needed to have a cup of greens. So I'm gonna have a cup
Oh,
of broccoli, a cup of spinach. So I'm still eating what I'm eating. I'm adding it, and then slowly, it becomes more of a habit. And then I like it was like a year later, a whole overhaul, just like plan based on I say take slow steps,
yeah.
but
Okay.
take steps. Now certain things like you can't make donuts healthy. Like, like no matter what you do, like I don't I mean let me I take it back. There might be some
Wait
way,
to
but
do.
you know what I mean? But like it goes back to cooking. I found like just getting comfortable with making your own stuff because you can still
Mm.
make pizza. Like I make pizza sometimes, but I know what's in there.
Oh,
Like I know like what flatbread I'm using. Like you know what I mean. I know I'm like if I added extra salt, I could put some spinach in there, so I have a control of what's going in my body. And yeah, so I find like just getting make small changes like
mm.
small changes. One of the biggest changes I've made, and people will be surprised, drinking a lot of water. So I drink about
Oh,
two of these a day. So when you saw me at the gym, so normally like in
yeah.
the morning, like I drink a whole one of these at the gym and
Wow.
then throughout the day. Because a lot of times you're not hungry, you're thirsty. Your body might be dehydrated. So a challenge like I'll give like your viewers like for the next 30 days, try to get at least 4 liters to a
Water.
gallon of water a day, and you'll see a big change. I found like so you make those small steps, and like, oh okay, I see some results. Let me try this now and then slowly. But if you try to overhaul the whole thing, you're gonna be miserable. It almost feel like punishment. Whereas
Yeah.
like I think I'm at a stage that I'm having fun. Like I'm like how can I challenge myself? But trying to do everything at once, I find is just gonna discourage you. But like taking small step where I could make a change, it might be, you know what, for the next month, I'm not gonna eat out. So, and
Okay.
then you look at that challenge, okay, what has changed? Okay, did I save some money or did I drop
Mm.
some weight because like, I'm not eating, like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not eating
Yeah.
a bunch of food because I'm not eating out. I'm preparing my own meal. So, I would say you take small steps, um, track it, see how the outcome, and then if it's working for you, stick with it, add something else. So, small steps, I would say.
Great. Thanks. Thank you. So, um, I would ask, I know you've spoken about beans a lot
Yeah.
and the fact that it's one of the biggest plant-based meals that one can switch to, but outside of beans, are there other options? And if they are, kindly share them with us.
So,
I know
that's
you
a
said
good.
broccoli is filling, and it's tempting to just uh, I, I've had several guests say eating small, eating little, but like if we have audiences of people that are like me, sometimes we just want to eat real big. Sometimes it's also stress eating as well. So how can I know water would help? Drinking a lot of water would help nullify that. But how what plant-based meal would you say would be very filling and be a good alternative? It doesn't necessarily have to be protein based, but something quite filling that can help, that can be introduced in a meal plan.
Okay. Huh. That's a lot to break to get from that. So
Yeah.
so one of my quick go-tos, and people would be surprised, apples.
Wow. Wow.
Like,
Okay.
if someone could eat more than two apples,
Yeah.
like,
It's good. It's a
I
good
will,
start.
I will, like, I'm not allowed to buy Oreos. I will go through the whole, like, those Oreos, like, it's like the lineup.
Yeah.
I will
Yeah.
eat every single one. It's like, I don't
Everything.
buy Oreos. But, like, I buy apples. You're not going to eat more than, if you eat more, like, rarely can you eat more than two apples. Am I lying?
No, no, that's
So
that's a fact.
it's one of the snacks I keep on, but I feel like for some reason, apples, it fills me up.
Okay.
Apples is a good one. Oatmeal. Like, no,
Okay.
normally I'll do oatmeal. Oh, speaking of protein stuff, so hemp seeds. So hemp
Okay.
hearts, like you can get at Costco. It's high in protein, high in fat. So what I'll do in the morning, I do like an oatmeal mix where I add some ginger because it's good for digestion. I add some oatmeal, some hemp seeds with some almond milk. That is
Yeah.
it's very protein packed, very filling. But if
Yeah.
I'd go for a snack, I would say it's funny, right? It's simple. Apples, like you're not gonna bench eat apples. I'm sorry. You're gonna bench eat cookies, but not apples,
No, no, no. Okay.
right?
So, yeah. Go ahead. Did you want to say something else?
Oh no, you go ahead.
Oh, okay. So, what would you say would be your favorite post-workout meal after a good
Yeah.
workout?
So that actually what I just mentioned would be my favorite post workouts because for a long time I didn't eat in the mornings, but
Oh,
I find that like I would overeat I would overeat throughout the day. So normally, what I do at night, so before I go to bed, I do overnight oats. So, and if you guys want to check the video, I have it on on my YouTube channel. But essentially, I'll before I go to sleep, I put some oatmeal, some hemp hearts, some ginger. I put some peanuts in there, some blueberries, and some almond milk. I'll leave that overnight. Normally, I have my breakfast. So, like how we met in the gyms, I go to the gym for 5 a.m., come home, get ready for work, and then I take it with me. So that's normally like my first meal, and it normally carries. I would eat it say about 8 o'clock. It carries me
oh,
up until like 11, but it's very protein packed. So oats, peanuts, hemp seeds, almond milk, so that's usually what I would say. It's typically my post while I'm working on, and then every now and again I get bored of it. I switch it up. I might do some protein pancakes, and with that
oh,
I'll
okay.
just basically this pancakes, some protein powder, and some hemp. Hemp seeds is something I use a lot, but it's a good source of plant based protein. It's just basically some seeds.